Welcome into an all-new episode of Panthers on Tap. I'm Curtis Rauen, joined by Bryson, Karbley, Ricky Raines, coming to you guys on a Wednesday evening. Another victory in the books, probably the biggest upset of the season. Carolina Panthers taking it to the best team in the NFC this past weekend in an awesome comeback win. Gentlemen, good to see you as always. Bryson, glad to have you back. How are you doing tonight?
Wonderful, man. Talk about exciting times. Getting to watch this game at my mother's house with family, and before the game starts saying, man, this is just going to be a waste of time. I'm probably leaving at halftime to go home. And staying through the whole entire game and celebrating a Panthers win, right after Thanksgiving was awesome. Loved it. So the vibes have continued through into this week, and just a great week to have a bye week.
You couldn't ask for a better win. I mean, really, man, if you went through that schedule, go through the Panthers schedule, right? You got the one in Lambeau, you probably circle that. Then you got the two Falcons games because everyone hates the Falcons. We beat them both times. And then you got this Rams game. And you know that that's a litmus test, right? Like, this is the best team in the NFC. It has been one of the best teams in the NFC for years. Super Bowl contenders on a yearly basis. And they're coming into the bank. If you'd have told me that we were going to do what we did on Sunday, I wouldn't have believed you. Curtis, you and I did it on the episode. We talked about it. We did our predictions. Said, man, if they had just put up the fight in San Francisco, I would have picked them in the Rams. I felt terrible about it going in. You did it. You picked them. So bravo to Curtis on that, first of all. But I just that was a awesome Sunday, man. Like, I could not have asked for a cooler Sunday. And now it's the most wonderful time of the year for two reasons. It's Christmas time, and the Panthers are in fucking playoff contention.
Amen. Why don't we get to, do you want to jump into what we're drinking and then we'll hit this video?
I think you got to hit the video first, right? That's what we've already got 7 people asking for it. Play the video. First of all, before we play the video, shout out Salesman. I got to get his comment up here real quick because he put it in while the intro was still playing. Let me be the first to say, suck it, Rams. I'm with you, Salesman. And with that, here's a little message from our sponsors.
What up?
How's everyone doing now?
Ricky, looking good.
I got a little bit of arm tassels on the Christmas sweater because I tell you what.
Let's
Carolina
go.
Panthers W, baby. Let's do it.
Where did you find that?
Oh, this bad boy with the holly berries and everything? Come on now.
I love it, man. Hey, you guys, every week you get this video. It's probably the highlight of our week every time they get a victory. Let's get into what we're drinking tonight.
You want to do the what we're drinking? All right, hold on a second. We're gonna class this up a little bit for our good friend Clay Wright, Carl Hungus. This is a segment that we are now proud to say got a little bit of background, swanky little lounge music for us.
Mood.
While we talk about what we're drinking, I'm gonna kick this over to you first, Curtis. Curtis, what are you drinking?
Yeah, I actually branched out this week. My favorite brewery in town, Wise Man Brewing, Winter Wave. Very good spiced winter ale beer. And what are we at here? 6.5%. I got that. I'm in the Christmas spirit just as much as Ricky is. I do not have that sweet sweater though. But yeah, that's what I got. What about you, Bryson?
Yeah, I still got some of this left over in the fridge. Ricky's wife's favorite holiday beer, the Shiner Holiday Cheer. Please, again, do not tell my my primary care provider that I'm drinking on blood thinners. I appreciate that to all of our listeners.
Ricky, what do you got?
I'm on Jake Curhan time tonight, boys. I don't know if y'all saw it.
Oh, yes.
But my man, our right guard for the Carolina Panthers, showed up to the football game on Sunday at Bank of America Stadium wearing a Miller High Life hat. And shout out to two of our best beat reporters for the Carolina Panthers, Sheena Quick and Vashti Hurt. They do their Quick Blitz show. And on that segment, they did the dripping or tripping when they do the pregame and say if someone looks good or not. And man, it was one of the funniest segments they've done because the way they talked about High Life, they were like, man, you got to be a certain kind of raw to drink High Life. Like that is a good old boys type of thing right there. And I am a fan of the champagne of beers. It is one of my favorite shit beers. So I've got two of these giant tall boys tonight in honor of Jake Curhan, who played much better than Chandler Zavala has ever played for the Carolina Panthers.
I'll tell you what, I have a hot take. I am not a fan of High Life. I know you two are, I believe. I think Bryson likes High Life.
Bryson, do you remember that time where you and I did this show, just us? Remember that? You remember when it was so good? Now you just ruined the jazz music. I'm turning all that off. It just ruined the entire.
Well, Ricky, you were talking about just me and you, and the jazz music was playing. It was
actually feeling really right?
Yeah.
I know it. We had a champagne of beers, a tall boy. I don't know if I was talking about a High Life or if I was talking about Bryson when I said I got a good tall boy right here.
Oh my goodness. All right, let's get to the chat.
It's the season.
Don't put my name one. Had to miss last week for Thanksgiving. Glad to be back. Coke heads, we up. Yeah, we'll definitely get into Jalen Coker's performance. Got to hit salesman again. Let's be the first to say suck it, Rams. Amen to that. Ricky, you definitely got fans in here.
I tell you what.
There you go. I'm not going to try to say that because you do best. Yeehaw from Panthers Blue 3826. Appreciate you. Belkin here as always. W song, let's go. Mick Ultra tonight after having steak. Shake with those beef tallow fries. What is that?
Steak and shake beef tallow fries, I'm assuming. I guess they cook their fries in beef tallow. He's saying he's having one of them lobes because he's already had a heavy-ass night with the steak and the beef tallow fries. I hear you, Steven.
We might have to eat crow regarding Nick Scott. Yeah, we'll talk about him as well. Keaton's in here. Let's go. What's up, fellas? Appreciate you, Keaton.
Keaton.
Hey, guys. Great to see everyone back. Miss Rains, appreciate you as always.
What up, Mom?
Go ahead and play the damn song.
Katie don't play about the song.
Nah, Katie don't. The minute that Katie comes in and she's in there in the chat, it is immediately like, play the song. Put that stupid hat on. Do it all now.
Zach in here, when Bryce threw that first laser to Coker, I knew this game would be special.
Hey, yeah, good point right there.
Does anyone know how to say that alcohol? I'm not sure.
Munkner?
But cheers, man. Appreciate it.
German, that's one of like the Festbeard style things, I believe. If I'm wrong, correct me, Zach.
Ostdog. What's good, fellas? Thanks for the tickets. Had some friends join me and got to witness that amazing W.
That's awesome.
Austin, glad you got them. Glad you got to go to the game. I wish I would have made it up to that area. I didn't. I sat down in the lower bowl. Shout out to our buddy Matt for letting me sit aside of him. But, man, what a hell of a game. We'll get into it in just a little bit here. Mike Jack is hitting the jugs machine. I used to pray for days like this.
Yeah,
amen. Amen to that. Oh, Katie just keeps going with the song. I love it.
It's a great piece of Carolina Panthers like memorabilia now, man. This thing matters.
What's up, fellas? Keep pounding. Haven't heard the bank like that since maybe a decade, 2018 at least. I'll tell you what.
Great out there.
I'll tell you what, Trainer. I did not realize how loud it was until watching some of the actual TV footage back. That shit was loud. And there wasn't there was empty spots in that stadium, but I would say 95 to 98% of fans were Panthers fans. There was not many Rams fans in the building. So always good to hear. Guys, let's get into it this evening. I'll just open it up. What was your reaction to this one? Just thoughts overall on the game itself. Who wants to start?
Bryson,
I can kick us off. Yeah, I can kick us off. But first, I got to ask you, Curtis, are you wearing that because Are you celebrating the Tar Heels win over Kentucky last night?
No.
Okay, all right. I just had to make sure because shout out to my Tar Heels, a huge W.
It's like
But
Curtis's head absorbs the souls of whatever team that we beat, right? He had like the fungus on his head the first time with the Packers. Now he's got these horns.
Yeah, it looks more like devil's horns, but I tried.
it does. It definitely does. All right, so let's get to the game, man. I'll tell you.
I'm sorry. I'll mute myself. I apologize.
It started off like I thought going into the game it would start off. I thought that Carolina would go into this game and struggle to stop the Rams' offense, and it would be downhill from there. The first kick return I think goes to like the 50 or right past, maybe into like our side of the field. And the Rams drive down and throw a touchdown to Devontae Adams. So they play off-ball coverage in the end zone and give him a free release, and it's an easy touchdown for the Rams. And then Carolina comes back and scores, and we get into really a back and forth shot for shot in this game with the Carolina Panthers and the Los Angeles Rams. And I didn't expect the defense to play like they did, to force 3 turnovers on Matthew Stafford, and everybody was sucking him off coming in about, he's had 27 touchdowns and no interceptions, and 28, he broke the record. And then immediately after he broke the record, he starts throwing interceptions. So it's like he just like,
He was itching for him.
Yeah, took a seat and was like, I'm done with it. Mike Jack, dude, that pick was like, I thought I was having a fever dream watching it. Like I like had to pinch myself to like really feel that it was real. Like it just didn't feel like I was living in the real world when I saw that. I was like, man, this never happens for us. And especially versus the team that we were playing. So Derek Brown held the game, forced really 2 turnovers, the fumble, and then the deflected pass that Nick Scott picked off. Someone mentioned him earlier. I might talk a little bit about him later, but I really like don't even know, like they played complementary football, like all 3 phases is what we've asked for. Week in and week out, we get on this podcast and ask Dave Canales to commit to the run and, not make Bryce throw the ball 30 or 40 times and just that game plan. The same thing they did against the Packers, what they did against the Rams. It's a winning formula, and we've proven it to be. So I was excited to see that, this past Sunday. I think that's a clear path to success for this team moving forward. We're going into the bye week. Hopefully we, get healthy and move things forward in that direction. But shout out to the entire team. Like really, I can't really pinpoint one person that I would say I like watched and was disappointed in, just because I was so excited for the outcome of this game, and I was like might have immediately forgiven anything that I saw that was negative, just because it was so unexpected for me. But I agree, Curtis. It's one of the biggest wins that this team has had. The Green Bay win was obviously huge too, but to go up against what many people in the league consider not the best team in the NFC, but the best team in the NFL, in the Los Angeles Rams, who have played the most consistent football in a season that really there haven't been a lot of teams that have played consistently week in and week out. The Rams, I think, were the most consistent up until this past weekend. And to go out and really just impose their will, running the ball, and Bryce playing mistake-free. I mean, my goodness, it was a perfect game plan, perfectly executed. And I was just extremely excited for the outcome, and still excited, as we speak about it now.
Curtis, you want to go up next?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that might have been the most fun I've had at a game since I've ever been to the Panthers Stadium. It's up there with the Atlanta game that Bryce and I went to on a Thursday night. Similar type of atmosphere, rainy all game. Up there with the Lions win a couple years ago with Steve Wilkes. But, man, it was fun. It was electric in there. I ran up and down the entire 200 section every time they scored. Every single time high-fiving people, talk shit to a Rams fan all game. He was a pretty cool dude, and we kind of went back and forth. But man, it was fun. It was so much fun. Bryce Young proved yet again why he is the quarterback for this team. He had big time throw after big time throw, fourth downs. I know we'll probably get into him here in a little bit. We have some nice little graphics for y'all, but he was outstanding. You look at his stats over since he was benched, 30 plus touchdowns, I think around 15 interceptions or so, and just playing really, really well. And thought he was outstanding in this game. We finally got back to the run game. That's something me and Ricky were bitching about last week, where they, neglected the run, didn't go to it much, 9 carries, and what they busted out for like 30 plus this game. Chuba's coming out game, I thought he finally looked like fully healthy in what we saw last year in Chuba Hubbard. And there was a good mix. I liked the mix they had of both guys. I don't think they neglected either of them, and you got to see that throughout the game. I thought Chuba looked good. I know, Ricky, last week I was harping on him for catching the ball to the backfield.
How you like it now?
He ripped a few off this past week. So I thought he was outstanding. I don't want to go and I don't want to steal all the thunder, because I know Ricky's wanted to talk about some of these guys. I thought Canales had coached a really good football game as well. And then the defense, man, lights out. I mean, Bryson, you hit it, man. Mike Jackson, that pick 6 was massive in the game. I think it jump-started a lot of things for this team. And, yeah, it was fun. It was a fun game. Ricky, what do you got?
How about the fact, though, that when we sit here and we talk about this defense, right? This defense allowed 28 points. I mean, the Rams scored. We knew they were going to, right? Like, I think that's the thing. When I looked at this game and when I looked at the prospects of this game, I knew that the Rams were going to be able to move the football. We were missing J.C. Horn. We were missing Trayvon Merrick. We were missing Christian Roseboom. We knew that, and Corey Thornton is out. We knew for a fact that was going to be a difficult task for this defense on Sunday. And it was. Now, the weather conditions, I don't want to even play into that too much. I know a lot of people thought that was going to make a huge difference. Don't forget that this Rams team went into Philadelphia and damn near beat the Eagles in the playoffs last year in a downpour of snow. This Rams team is talented and they're good regardless of what kind of precipitation is falling around them, right? So I don't want to take away from our team with that. But I just didn't know what this offense was going to be able to do against a really strong Rams defense that is playing, up until this game, man, is playing the best defense in the NFL. We talked about it, Curtis. They were like their 6-game win streak that they had, they were allowing like 12.5 points per game. And that wasn't against bad teams. They played some very good teams. They played playoff teams in that stretch. The Carolina Panthers came out, and this was my overall takeaway, guys. They outplayed the Los Angeles Rams, and they outcoached the Los Angeles Rams in this football game. Just straight up, man. They did. And that is probably the thing that I can hang my hat on and be the happiest about. We could talk about the individual performances, and we should, because there's a lot that are noteworthy. But an overall team win is what I saw this Sunday. Complimentary football. You talk about Dave Canales. And look, you want to go ahead and bring up some of these slides so that while we're talking about these players, we just kind of do this and organically let it go through. So let's look at this, right? We've got Bryce Young on the first one. We just talked a little bit about Bryce. And you see the burner back there behind these boys, right? Because these dudes were cooking on Sunday. This was an absolute cook fest for some of these players. Bryce Young, 15 of 20 for 206 passing yards. Oh, no. What a terrible day. He only threw for 206 passing yards. He threw for 75% completion. He did everything that you could have asked him to do. And I saw someone nitpicking about one of the throws. Oh, he missed this one. He missed Tommy Tremble. What? No, man. Damn it. How far removed have we gotten as football fans? That
he missed 5 passes,
He missed 5 passes. 25% of his throws he missed, and they touched the receiver's hands at least 2 of those 5 times. Like, how far removed are we from sanity, guys, that we are arguing about the 5 that he missed and not the 206 passing yards and 3 touchdowns? Now, here's another important part. Look over to the right part of that slide. 3rd and 4th downs. Bryce Young, in money clutch downs, was 8 of 10 for 162 of those yards and all 3 touchdowns. He also had the 5 carries for 23 yards, which is a hilarious stat because his longest run of the day was 24 yards. He hit on the scramble. He had 24 yards. He lost some yardage on the sacks, and he lost some yardage trying to get away. But I'm going to tell you, man, Bryce Young still doesn't look 100% healthy to me with that ankle. I think that he's still laboring it a little bit, and he was still elusive. He still extended plays. He hit deep passes that everyone is saying for the past month and a half that this guy can't make or that he's scared to make. He's hitting them, man. Like, he is hitting them. I know that against the Rams or the 49ers, everyone was disappointed. That's a game plan thing. We talked about it last week. And we're going to talk about Canales too because he switched his shit up and he overcorrected in a monumental way, in my opinion. But Bryce Young, man, shout out to him. He did everything that he was asked, and he was not asked to do too much. Thought it was beautiful.
And another stat, that was super impressive from this game, you guys touched on it last week and mentioned it here briefly about the Rams defense being one of the best, in the entire league. That defensive line scary. And all levels of that defense are playing really well. But in this game versus the blitz, he was 6 for 6 for 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. When he got blitzed, you were in trouble. Like, he diagnosed it and played perfectly versus it. Like, I would have stopped blitzing him if I was the defensive coordinator. But
and shout out the offensive line on that, Bryson.
Yeah,
because there's 2 things, right, that stood out for me on that. And I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you set it up perfect, man. The protection on some of those, right? The one to T-Mac late in the game, he had to get to his 3rd progression to make that throw. That was protection that allowed him to do that, because very often we see Bryce not be able to get through that first read and there's somebody in his lap. So shout out to that protection for that. But then shout out Dave Canales for having answers on those blitzes, because he did. And Bryce attacked where the blitz was coming from. It's something that we talked about last week against the 49ers and against the Saints a couple weeks ago. We didn't have built-ins, man. And we did this week, and it worked. And it showed you Bryce Young can read a field, man. That's never been the problem. You got to give him answers, though, because when he doesn't have one, he can't create one, right? I thought that they did a really good job mixing personnel and stuff like that. So that's a great point, Bryson. His performance against the blitz was outstanding.
Well, I wanted to just you mentioned Canales. How many times do we say can he go up against some of the top coordinators in the league defensively? And in this one, Chris Shula, the guy's being talked about as a potential head coach. I'm sorry, I'm skipping way ahead. But I mean, Shula's been talked about. He's probably he might get a head coaching job this offseason for the Rams as the DC. And Canales, you talked about it. The answers for the blitz, the commitment to the run, the 4th down shot plays that they dialed up that Bryce Young took advantage of. You mentioned the Tedero McMillan one. You had the Jalen Coker one as well. But just outstanding answers all around going up against arguably the best defense in the NFL right now. And it cracks me up when up to before this game, everyone talked about the Rams were arguably the best team in the NFL. Every single facet on offense, defense, special teams, all across the board. They got this, the hot young coach who's outstanding. You have the D coordinators getting head coaching looks, and Carolina goes up and beats them. And then you still hear some of the excuses still, which just, it blows my mind. But I thought Dave Canales, this was outstanding. I know we talked a couple weeks ago about what was his best coaching game up to this point. This might be the one. I mean, this was outstanding for them. Going toe-to-toe, Ricky talked about it, against a high-powered offense when your defense missed half of your starters and they went toe-to-toe with them. So just outstanding job by him. Everyone wants to harp on him for last week. He showed up and he bounced back. There's no denying that.
The unfortunate part is that we have talked about this early in the season with the in real-time adjustments as opposed to his ability to understand what went wrong, right? Like, we know that Dave Canales is a bright dude. We know that he understands the X's and O's of the game, and we know that he's a really good leader, that he has captivated that entire locker room with his personality and with his method of coaching, right? Like, this team seems very bought in, man. I don't know that anyone can deny that at this point, that these guys believe in each other. They believe in their coach. They believe in this team that they should be able to go out and beat people, right? But we've talked about the fact that Dave Canales has seemed a little bit too reactive instead of proactive, right? And that there is a lot of this that you would hope could be adjusted in game, and that when he gets hit in the mouth, he can change it. Or he can just impose his will as the play caller on the opposing defense. I think we saw all of that in this game. And that was what was so cool for me is, you know, you look at the stats here, 40 called rushes, right? 20 pass attempts. That wasn't him being so stubborn with the run just to do it. He mixed up the varied looks, the concepts of the run. Chuba Hubbard had, 18 carries? I believe Rico Dowdle had 17. So, I mean, they were running the ball equally, right? It was a hot hand approach. Chuba got more action because he was ripping them off, dude. Chuba had burst, and we're going to talk about him too. But Dave Canales stayed aggressive throughout this game. And I can appreciate that when you have at least a steady approach. You see when there was 1 yard to go, I think there was 3 plays of this, 2 or 3 instances when there's 1 yard to go, he ran the ball every time. My favorite play of that instance was when they went 22 personnel, had, or 23, I think it was, because they had 3 tight ends technically. No, 22, because it was Bryson and Tremaine out there. So 22 personnel, and they ran it full house. So they had 1 running back in the backfield solo, and then 2 split out on the sides, flanking Bryce Young in the pistol. And they threw that toss play to Rico on that 4th and 1 out of that formation. What an innovative and smart way to use that formation. But then going later, when they started doing those 4th down throws, right? They had the touchdown passes, right? When they threw those, it's because that defense was biting down on the run. Like they were expecting the run, and he varied it, and he timed it, and he sequenced it perfectly. You've got to give Dave Canales major, major kudos for the way that he called this game. And then running it, man, not being afraid to stick with that run. I mean, Bryson, we have said all season we wanted him to run the football no matter what. They were down in this game. They were close for most of it, though. They weren't down in a detrimental way that looked like everything was hopeless and lost. But they were down, and he didn't panic. I love that, man.
Bryson, thoughts on Canales in this one?
Yeah, I mean, you guys hit it. He deserves his flowers. I think, going through the entire year of, Dave Canales in year 2, I feel confident in saying that we have our head coach of the future. He's had his week in and week out struggles. I think, the past 6 weeks, the Carolina Panthers have gone like win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. So the next step in the maturation process of him being a head coach is that consistency in that play calling, and that, when he gets punched in the mouth during a game, how does he respond? But I think Dave Canales has laid out in multiple games a clear path to success. And Ricky, you touched on it. The team is bought in. He is not a coach that's at risk of losing a locker room because of his style. I think the players enjoy playing for him, and they've seen the benefits of his play calling, and they've seen what he preaches work. So I'm very confident in saying that Dave Canales is the head coach of the future here in Carolina. I mean, they've overachieved this year, and I think that's probably a deciding factor for me. And, I think while he's not been perfect, week in and week out, I think he's shown growth this year, tremendous growth in not only working with Bryce Young, but also just his play calling ability in this game in particular with running the ball. And then we talk about like the Green Bay game and other games where, the run game is this offense is predicated on that, man. And you play off of that. And that's when you get these 4th down passes for touchdowns like we had in this game. Because, Ricky, you touched on it. Like, they bite down on the run. That opens things up. Bryce sees the field, and it's there. I'm so excited for the future of this team because I think that they are on an upward trajectory for the first time in a while, and it's showing on the field and not just like us hoping and believing that they are. Like, they've shown, this team can win. So I think Canales has deserved his flowers, and I'm glad that we are all on here giving it to him because he's done a hell of a job this year.
All right, I guys, we got way too excited over the win, and we need to touch on this Panthers jersey giveaway. I'm going to let Ricky give the details. We're going to have a ticker rolling across the bottom all show. Again, we just beat the Rams. We're excited,
man.
But let's talk about this giveaway.
Yeah, let's do it because, we've done a lot of things for our subscribers and followers, but we thought it would be really cool to do something for the people that come in and they watch the show live. Now, look, this doesn't mean that if you're not here tonight, you won't have an opportunity. We're going to do this for the next show as well. So if you listen to this episode on Spotify because you weren't able to make it, man, just jot it down on the calendar. Pop in for 5 seconds next Wednesday. You know what I mean? Come in, get the entry in. All you have to do is comment in the chat, whether it's through X or YouTube. The chat will come through. Comment hashtag on tap. And then when you do that, we will see it. We're going to write your name down. Members of the tap room, which is our YouTube membership. I will throw that QR code up here right now as well. Look at us. That's quality TV. You scan that bad boy right there. It's going to get you over to the tap room. You get that. You get the membership, $4.99 a month. But by being a member, you are automatically entered into this jersey giveaway and into every giveaway we do. That's just one of the perks of being a member. Comment, you get one entry. Every $5 increment of a super chat, you get another entry. For the jersey, you are going to get to pick the player of your choosing. Not talking about a custom jersey. I'm not talking about a game jersey. One of the jerseys that is available that we can get shipped to you really quickly and it doesn't cost $5,000. We are going to go ahead and we're going to send it off to you. We'll DM you the same way we do with everybody. You send us the address. We'll get it out to you immediately. You'll have it by Christmas time. Think of us as your, old Santa Clauses of the podcast network on the Believe network now. So get in here, comment on tap, hashtag on tap, get yourself an entry into it, win yourself a Panthers jersey. Who would you guys pick? I want to ask you guys first, and then we're going to get into these super chats.
Yeah, I want to say one thing first on the giveaway.
Okay.
Members, and we did this for the last one, so I'm going to keep it fair. You get 3 entries if you're a member automatically. That's how we're doing this. Members get more of an incentive. There are members, they deserve it. So it's 3 entries for every member right off the bat. Super chat, obviously, he mentioned the $5. That's an extra entry. If you're not a member, you don't do a super chat. The on tap as well is the key to get in. Who would I go with?
Yeah,
Man.
What jersey would you pick?
Who did I mention? I think I tweeted something out this past week and I was kind of joking. Come back to me. I got to figure out. I tweeted something though about it. Bryson, who would you pick? I can't go off the it's too much pressure.
I got to go with my guy. I don't have his jersey yet, but I would go Tedero McMillan.
That's a great one.
Yeah, he's like I said earlier before the season started, he's going to be the best Panther wide receiver in team history when he's said and done here in Carolina. Still believe that wholeheartedly. He's the most talented player to play that position in the franchise's history. No disrespect to Steve Smith. He was great and I loved him, but Tedero McMillan is just different. He's different, and he's showing that his rookie year. So I would go Tedero McMillan.
I love to see people saying, in the chat, we've got T-Mac or Scorton for sure. It's a coin toss. Joko, Bryce Young, easy. Love that. And what's really cool to me too? I think that Joko has been a Bryce Young fan, in multiple shows he's been in here talking about it. That's not a new thing, but there's a lot of fans now that probably would feel comfortable going and getting a Bryce Young jersey. And I love that for Bryce. I love that for our fans. Katie, Derek Brown, great call. How could you go wrong with Derek Brown, right? And also 95 looks really tough on a Panthers jersey. Like, I just think that looks really, really tough. Coker here, that's a good one. Bryce Young, T-Mac, or JC, great. NATO, shout out OPM. What up, OPM? How you doing, man? Bryce Young, big Bryce Young fan there. I agree with that.
What's yours, Ricky? I have mine now, but what's yours?
I got my Nick Scorton jersey this year, so I'm pretty happy about my new purchase. But I'm going to be honest with you, man. I think that I would go with a Chuba or a Mike Jack at this point. I love Chuba and what he represents for this team. Have been a fan of him. My son went to his camp, so I got to meet him and hear him talk to the kids. That dude is just like, he's football, man. Like, you hear him speak, dude. He is football. He loves the game. He loves what it did for him in his life, what it afforded him, what it gave him options for. And I love stuff like that, man. He was terrific. And then Mike Jack, I don't give a damn if Mike Jack isn't here in a year or two. What this dude has done this year, he's going to go as one of my favorite Panthers players, at least like one of those obscure Panthers players, right? Like, maybe he doesn't end up in the Ring of Fame or the Ring of Honor, which I hope he does, dude. He's balling. But right now, what he's done this year has made me such a big fan, man.
Yeah, I would, and I don't know why this just didn't. I just went blank when you asked me. Like I was like, I don't know a Panther player. It was really weird. It would be obviously Rico Dowdle, I think, and I don't know if he'd be around after this year. That's why I'd be reluctant. But the tweet I was looking for, I tweeted this during the game. I might need a Mike Jackson jersey, and that was a guy who was very reluctant on him. Dude, he has been outstanding this year, and I do think he's going to get a bigger contract when all is said and done here, honestly.
I know we've got some super chats that we're going to have to get to, but
yes, well, let's get to those.
But first,
hit it.
But first.
All right, let's hit these super chats up. We're going to start here with Will_Robinson_8432. Little applause. $5. The bank was electric Sunday. Oh my fucking God. Keep pounding, Jets.
Dude, definitely cheers, man. Cheers.
I might finish this beer through all these.
I love that. And I loved hearing about the crowd. Because Curtis, I heard the same thing, that it wasn't like overly slammed and crowded, but that it was overwhelmingly Carolina, and that crowd just got live. So I love to hear that. And Will, that's another entry for you right there for your jersey giveaway, bud.
We got Carter in here. Video when you can. Derek Brown is a future Hall of Famer. We just did it for you, Carter. $1.99. Appreciate
Gotcha, bud. This is how we get ahead, bud. It's like playing Power Hour going through the super chats, you know?
Big NATO, hey, becomes a member. There's three.
Let's go, OPM.
Appreciate you, sir.
I'll crack this one for you.
Oh, so this is OPM?
That's OPM, man. That's
I didn't know that. How did I know that? How was I supposed to know that?
And NATO is a teacher. Does film teaching, I believe. Yeah. Awesome dude. Big Bryce Young fan. Has stood on business for Bryce Young through all of it. Shout out NATO, man. That's my guy right there. And just an awesome dude and an awesome dad, man. Shout out.
Hey, NATO, what do you think about Curtis wearing the Tar Heel Rams?
OPM, man. We were taking over the spaces on Sunday too, so I appreciate him. He's a good dude. Keaton here, $4.99 on Tap Gang. Appreciate you.
Cheers, Keaton.
On Tap Gang, I kind of like that.
On Tap Gang, yeah.
And then we got Nate here as well, who's become a member.
Right,
and Nate was actually he won one of our giveaways. What was it? A shirt? I can't remember. He won something.
Yeah.
A hat, maybe.
I think it might have been the Panthers on Tap. No, wait. It was the Roaring Riot shirt, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. So appreciate all of you for tapping. Let's get back to this game here a little bit. And Ricky, I know you had some other slides here. I know I touched on Chuba a little bit. I think we should talk about him.
Let's start with Coker, maybe?
Yeah, let's start with Coker. Bryson, let's go to you on this. Big Coker guy. Had big expectations for him. He obviously got hurt early in the year, but this is his biggest game of the season. I don't think you're surprised at all, but just thoughts overall on this one.
Yeah, man. Like someone said in the chat earlier, Cokehead's got to stand up because this was his coming out.
Stand up, you're sitting down.
Can Cokeheads ever sit down?
I'm just kidding.
So I think, this was one of the first showings where I truly believed that he was healthy, like 100% healthy on the field. And I forgot who was on the broadcast for the game. Ricky, do you remember?
Drew Brees.
Drew Brees.
Yeah.
And I mean, shout out to him. Drew Brees called it out before the game started. He was like, they need to get Jalen Coker involved. I feel like he's a secret weapon in this game. And they did, and he performed. So shout out to him for calling that out. But yeah, I mean, that fourth down pass to Coker for the touchdown, right over the shoulder, catching it and then taking it to the house with the cornerback on him. I mean, a spectacular play. Seeing Bryce getting hype after when he threw the touchdown. I mean, it's what dreams are made of, dude. Like it was a Disney movie, and you can make a Disney movie from this game for Carolina Panthers fans because I've rewatched it. I've watched the highlights probably 100 times, dude. Like, not even kidding. Like, just the touchdown to Jalen Coker that we're talking about and the other ones. I'm sure we're going to get into those guys later, but Coker, just clutch, dude. When the ball goes his way, it's getting caught. Like, I can't remember him dropping a ball ever. And I just think he's so consistent. He's only getting better. He's a young dude in his second year, being undrafted, continuing to come into his own on this team. What a young core Carolina has at that wide receiver position, and my God, are they trending up? It's beautiful to see that with a young quarterback and a young wide receiver core growing together, growing that chemistry, and seeing the obvious talent that they have on the field.
Let me start real quick because my guy, Panther Bo, must have been in here late, and he asked, am I wearing a kimono? Hey, look, first thing first, Panther Bo, if I was wearing a kimono, sort of like Pineapple Express says, I'm cool as a cucumber, man, right? Like, I'm wearing a kimono, dog. Fuck are you wearing? No, but it is not a kimono. This, let me remove your comment, is a nice little V-neck Christmas country western cardigan with the nice little holly berries and nice country western details. You can't see everything because I'm sitting down, but it's got some real nice little tassels there on the arm, like a little bullfighting action. No, man, just to get real chintzy for the holiday action. Good to see you, Panther Bo. Always a pleasure. Jalen Coker. Look at that first. 4 receptions, 74 yards at a touchdown, right? Then look over on the other side. Those are his 4 receptions. I mean, that's it. On 3rd and 7, 15 yards. 3rd and 5, 16 yards. 4th and 3, 33 yards for the tutty. 3rd and 5, 10 yards. And that was the one that iced it.
And you know what that looks like to me? You know what that looks like to me? An Adam Thielen stat line. Reliable in when it matters. Bryce Young security blanket.
Right? And thank God we dodged that bullet for a second time. He's old man Thielen's out there in Pittsburgh. I'm going to touch on that for a real quick second because you just brought it up. And I'm going to do it because I saw a lot of our fans talking about we need to take some of XL snaps and give them to Adam Thielen, who's had 8 receptions this year for the Minnesota Vikings because he can't beat out Jalen Naylor to get on the field. And Kevin O'Connell's offense that they traded away draft capital to bring him in intentionally for, and he still couldn't get on. And then he's got his wife on Instagram crying, talking about he's just a competitor. He wants to prove people wrong. He wants to prove that he doesn't suck because that's what Minnesota told him he did.
He had a bet here in Carolina and screwed it up.
Yeah, let's just leave it alone at that, man. I ain't trying to like put anybody down or anything like that, but let's have a little bit of this whole like, hey, man, we're just Panthers fans. We love this team. We want to be, behind this team. Then be behind this team because Adam Thielen didn't want to be behind this team. No matter what you say, whether it's because of personal reasons and he just wanted to go home to Minnesota, then stay in Minnesota. He wanted to leave Minnesota when he wasn't getting no damn playing time. So miss me with the sentimental stuff. He believed in J.J. McCarthy and Kevin O'Connell more than he believed in Bryce Young and Dave Canales. That's what it comes down to. He thought the path was easier. The path was not, in fact, easier. They are 4-8, and they're sitting at home already eliminated, and the Carolina Panthers are fighting for the playoffs. So leave that shit alone.
I apologize for the cokeheads. I was trying to give him some credit. And Ricky, I had a soft spot for Ricky.
No, because man, like
Ricky turned into the QB school and JJ all in one.
No, man, I saw so many fans though, man, literally talking about take reps away from XL, take reps away from Coker if you have to. Like literally just saying because of what Adam did a year ago on the field. And he hasn't played any football this season. And we're seeing the guys that are playing on this Panthers team that have led this team to 7-6, and people want them to sit down so that Adam Thielen can come back. And I'm just not with that, man. I want to stand up and I want to watch this team that has earned this right. This is a better record than any Adam Thielen Panthers team has ever had. So if you want to tell me that Adam Thielen is more valuable, why wasn't he more valuable in those days? And I'm not saying that one player is responsible, but these guys, even the times where it was Bryson, Tremaine, and David Moore and Hunter Renfrow out there, they held down the fort, not Adam Thielen. He ran for higher grounds literally in the Lake Minnetonka Hills or wherever the fuck he is. But now he's in Pittsburgh, and that's going to be fun, man. He'll have a good time in the mines. Jalen Coker is very clutch. He is as reliable as it gets. He is more explosive. This is the guy that we all thought would be filling in and taking that role, that reliable security blanket role. This is also the guy that we thought had more positional versatility to play XYZ if need be, right? That was the way that we all saw this coming in. He dealt with the hamstring soft tissue injury to begin the year. That put the entire offense, in handcuffs for a little bit. I don't think that we got any momentum. I don't think we got rolling. And then he had to get 100% healthy. We have heard Dave Canales say he wants to feature him. He wants to get him involved. This is what that looks like, boys. This is what that looks like. And it opens it up because you got to account for this guy. And if you got to account for this guy, Rowan, McMillan and Xavier Legette start getting good looks, man. And that is a dangerous prospect because what they also did this week by targeting Emmanuel Forbes showed how smart they are. Emmanuel Forbes is 145 pounds with 45-pound weights tied to each leg. He is tiny. He's one of the thinnest, most frail corners you're ever going to see, and they attacked him with physicality. And he gave up by far the most yards of anyone on that team. I believe it was 108 yards.
Was that one?
Yeah, that was one. Emmanuel Forbes.
Yeah, I kept asking the guy, I'm like, man, they're picking on one.
He's the one that everyone was like, man, Bryce just threw a hospital ball to Rowan McMillan. Did you see that giant hit he took? It didn't even barely phase Rowan McMillan. It just looked big because he came out of the corner and hit him. It didn't phase him. That wasn't a hospital ball. You got to be able to put someone in the damn hospital. That's like saying that I'm going to get a concussion because my kid hit me in the shoulder. Like, let's get over ourselves, dude. Let's stop being so scary about it, right? Anyways, I went way off tangent with the Adam Thielen thing, so I concede the rest of my time.
I love it.
I get fired up, man. This is your fault.
Let's go to Mike Jackson. We talked about him a little bit. Man, I mean, the trajectory I can't say that when I'm drinking. That's too tough of a word. The path that Mike Jack is on is like this. He's outstanding, guys. He really is, man. I mean, I don't know. Like every week he just keeps building and building and building. It's insane. That pick this past week, man, I'm excited for this dude because he's earned. I mean, that contract they gave him, pennies for what they got out of this guy talent wise. I mean, he's been outstanding. He really has. So, thoughts on Mike Jack and even this secondary? You know, they don't have Merrick. That was a big concern. They don't have J.C. Horn. Corey Thornton's out for the year. So you saw Shaw Smith, Wade, Mike Jackson, Caleb Evans, Ricky's guy. He might not like me saying that, but he's mentioned him a couple times. I don't know who else got any.
Hey, Ricky's guy?
You've mentioned him.
What did you fucking say?
Yes, I did.
Don't curse him like that.
Did you have
those are the devil's horns on your head.
Did you have him making the roster?
Yes, I did.
Okay, then it's your guy.
Because he was a professional football player before this year.
It. Let's not backtrack now. You may have had him making the roster.
And he made it.
Who did anyone else play? When you're at the game, it's hard. I can't be watching everything. So were those the top three that played in this game corner wise?
Yeah, they didn't run nearly as much of the sub package stuff in this game. They ran a lot more.
And Damani came in.
Yep. Lathan, we don't have a slide here for Lathan.
Don't have Lathan. Okay.
Nah, I didn't have Lathan because what I want to do, I wanted top 5 players that stood out to me, right?
That's fair.
And really, like, Lathan Ransom was cracking. I mean, he was hitting dudes, man. Like, and I love that. But he also had a couple of opportunities in coverage where it wasn't his finest moment as well. So, like, I wanted to be more fair to the guys that made these really big impacts, man. Like Mike Jack and Bryson. You haven't gotten to talk about him yet, right?
Mm-mm.
Okay, let me just concede to you real quick because I've already been yapping all night. Bryson, you go.
I mean, I was just going to touch on how much crow this man has made me eat about him being a Carolina Panther, which I'm totally happy to concede to the masses that I was wrong about Mike Jackson being a Carolina Panther. I was wrong about the contract. I thought it was an overpay for Mike Jackson, and we're sitting here on our bye week in this season talking about how cheap that contract looks now with the level of play that he's put on the field. He's been consistent, man. I mean, I think he's had like one game this year where I was like, okay, like he got picked on a little bit. I think it was the Cowboys game, if I'm not mistaken. But Dak Prescott's been picking on every corner. So
George Pickens too, right?
yeah, Pickens, we'll give you a pass on that one. I mean, they're going crazy. So I think he's shown consistency, dude. And, out there this past Sunday being the number one corner with J.C. Horn out, just a dog, dude. Like, he's playing at a level that I think when J.C. Horn's back on the field, you cannot argue with me that this is not a top 5 cornerback duo in the NFL right now with Mike Jackson and J.C. Horn. They are playing at a level that we have not seen in Carolina in a long time. And just two dudes that you can count on every down to at least be in contention to make a play when the ball's thrown their way. So Mike Jackson's earned every penny of that contract. It is looking like a steal every time he steps on the field. And I hope he's here for, longer than his contract is, and he continues to play up to that level. Because it was a 2-year contract, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's here for 2 years. Yep.
Yeah, and I think he has the potential to play at this level for longer than another year after this season. So hopefully he sticks around, and it just all goes back to Dan Morgan trading Michael Barrett to the Seahawks in return for Mike Jackson, and finding a corner that is your second on the roster that has the ability to play cornerback one at a high level. Like, what an absolute deal that was for the Carolina Panthers. And I think at some point we do need to make a Dan Morgan slide and talk about the things that he's done in his short tenure here in Carolina, because he deserves a lot of flowers for the stuff that he's done. And we have not been able to say that about a GM in Carolina in a very long time. So Mike Jackson, shout out to him, dude. Ballin'. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I repent all of my sins in regards to what I said about Mike Jackson. He is a good football player, a very good football player.
Before Ricky goes here, the President Roosevelt once said, "Speak softly and carry a big stick." That's what this dude is doing this year. Like, he's a soft-spoken dude, humble as hell, but just goes out there and plays his game. And he's balled out this season. And he didn't speak softly after this game. And I don't want to misquote him here, but I was like, holy shit, I love this out of a guy. And that was, he said to Matthew Stafford, when he's having his Hall of Fame speech, I'm going to be thinking about this pick. So kind of talk some shit. And I love it, man. Like, I love that quote from him, because he is a soft-spoken dude. And man, he's playing outstanding football right now. But I'll digress. Go ahead, Ricky.
He's mild-mannered, but he's not like soft-spoken, right? Like just like the volume in which he goes about his business when he talks about things, no doubt, mild-mannered. But this dude, when he says things, there's more like viciousness behind some of that,
and it's intentional. Like,
man, I mean, he's calculated, bro. Like, he's one of those cold-blooded dudes, though, that when he talks and he says stuff like that, he's like, yeah, man, look, Matthew Stafford is a good guy, but everyone was just praising him all the time, and he'll get a gold jacket when he's up there. I'm gonna be thinking about how I picked him off for 6. Like, I love that kind of bravado, because he still recognizes. And look, this is what we were talking about earlier with like the picking of the Rams and stuff like that. That Rams team is really good, dude. There's no reason to try to diminish how good that Rams team is, because all that does is diminish how good this Panthers team was on Sunday. Like, if you try to sit here and downplay and say, man, Matt Stafford, everyone was just, glazing him and talking about how great. Yeah, he had 30 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. He was an MVP favorite. He was on an all-time NFL historical run until he came to Charlotte, North Carolina, to the Bank of America Stadium, and ran in to this cold-blooded MF right here, Mike Jackson. Like, that's what happened, dude. An immovable force ran into an immovable object. An unstoppable force ran into an immovable object. The Panthers were on the right side of it this time, man. And you got to give credit. But I think that not just the interception, right, the pick 6, that was Mike Jack's hang your hat on moment. But 2 receptions allowed on 6 targets, 35 yards. The touchdown early was the Devontae Adams touchdown, right? Again, Bryson, you talked about it. He's an off coverage. I don't know why that's happening. When this game started, boys, and that was the first thing that I saw happen, I won't lie to you. Immediately, my worst feelings started like bubbling to the top. I was like, we're getting smoked here. Like, this is bad news Bears. Like, I'm about to just like
not so fast, my friend.
Right. And then I thought of Lee Corso. I literally thought of Lee Corso, Curtis. And I was like, once they came back and they answered, I was like, nah, we're in this shit, because that felt different, right? It felt different when they answered, because I thought that Carolina showed we're not scared of you, and we're going to take a punch and we're going to punch back. Mike Jack was a big reason for that, I thought, because in coverage against Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua with JC Horn out, that task alone is enough pressure to break weaker players, in my opinion. And not only did the pressure not break him, but those good football players didn't break him. We made a promise to some people in the chat that once we were done with Mike Jackson, we were going to get them what they wanted. Here's that moment.
All right, I have a bone to pick with Panther Bo, because he was at this game and didn't say a damn thing. And Panther Bo, you know that I have season tickets. You know I'm at every damn football game at home. And you didn't say a damn word. And I would have loved to meet you. I would have bought your ass a beer, even though you're a Boilermaker fan. And you didn't say a damn thing. So
probably had some stranger danger fear out of you, the way you've been wearing weird cheese and shit on your head. This is maybe one of the best comments I've read yet about the video. I could chop a tree with my bare hands every time I hear this video play. Hell yeah, you and me both. I love it, man. I seriously, every time, you guys don't get to see it, but we talk about it. Half the time I'm like dancing and shaking around every time that video comes on.
Yeah,
man.
He's got the tassels on his arms waving in the wind. Let's go to another guy on defense who honestly is getting snubbed in Pro Bowl votes right now. So we got to step it up as a fan base, because every vote on Twitter and online, they count. So go retweet anything you see, hashtag Pro Bowl Derek Brown. Go on NFL.com and vote. This guy, I think God, come on, Curtis.
Kay Adams.
Thank you. Kay Adams said it best.
Don't ask me how I knew he was talking about Kay Adams. I just have like this intuition that anytime anyone's thinking about Kay Adams, I'm aware.
But she nailed it. If this is my defensive player of the year, if he's on any other team, he'd be talked about all across the board. He has been outstanding. If you watched any of Brian Baldinger's stuff on Twitter, he literally highlights this guy every single week, which I love. He is playing outstanding football, and he affected every single one of those turnovers this past weekend. So shout out him. Let's talk about DB for a minute, because this guy is outstanding, and he does not get enough. He doesn't get enough flowers. He really doesn't, because I think it goes unnoticed a lot, because he's that big dude in the middle. But man, his sacks have gone up this year. He's literally impacting every single plays on the field. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a clear before and after, I guess you could say. Let's look at last season when he was out in this defense and what they lacked. And, there were injuries in other places as well, and free agent signings that were added this year. But Derek Brown brings an attitude to that defensive line, to that defensive group as a whole. He's a clear leader for this team. He just game in and game out, down in and down out, gives it his all, like every single play. You're going to get his best effort, and he expects that from everybody else around him. And I assume, just from what I've seen of him, in post-game interviews, he's not afraid to call someone out if they're not. And that's exactly what you need in on this level of football. Someone that's a leader, who's vocal, and who's going to hold each other to a higher standard, because you're playing at the highest level of football that you can. So Derek Brown, the 7 passes that he's deflected this year, I think that is a stat that is super undervalued because it's a loss of down essentially, or a potential turnover like it was in this game. He obviously, his effort in on run defense goes a lot of the time unnoticed or unrecognized by the majority of the league or media. I think us here in Carolina recognize what he does for this defense, but I agree wholeheartedly with Kay Adams. If he was on a team like the Rams or one of these perennial competing teams, this would be a guy that's getting talked about like some of these other defenders in the league. Derek Brown is just consistent, and he was a hell of a draft pick, and he might have started slow in Carolina, but he has blossomed into, if not the best defensive tackle, one of the best in the entire NFL, and a leader that's going to be here in Carolina for a while. He earned that contract. I'm glad he's re-signed. He's going to be here for a long time. He deserves every flower that Kay Adams or other, big-time media members give him, because he doesn't get it a lot. And I think his play on the field deserves it. But yeah, Curtis, shout out to Brian Baldinger. This guy every single week is saying, hey, look at this guy. Look at number 95 for the Carolina Panthers. This guy's doing a lot of stuff on the field, and not a lot of people are talking about him. He just commands so much respect from opposing offenses that, they're game planning for Derek Brown, because if you don't, you're going to pay. And the Rams paid, like so many other teams did this season. When Derek Brown's on the field, he's forcing turnovers, he's getting sacks, he's disrupting the run defense, and just a complete player at that position.
Ricky, why is 95 so damn special?
Yeah, I love everything that Bryson was just talking about, because he's spot on with it. And the reason why he doesn't get the credit, despite being so special, right, is because of the counting statistics. And this year, like, take this last game, for example, right? He had one tackle. And that was a sack. But watch the game film and tell me about the impact that Derek Brown had on this game. Not to mention, when big moments come, you look for your big players to step up, right? Well, in the biggest moment of the game, the biggest possible moment of the game, Derek Brown steps up. And he iced that football game, man. Like, we talked about Bryce Young and Jalen Coker finishing that thing, right? And wrapping that present up real nice and neat with a pretty little bow. That's what Derek Brown gave you, though. Derek Brown's the one that delivered the presents to your doorstep so that you could wrap them up. Like, I had a cat growing up, guys. that just sounded real country when I was about to get into the story. I had a cat growing up he was an outdoor cat, and he would go out to the pond, and he'd come back, and he would drop off a snake with the head cut off. He'd just drop off the body and then the head right there next to it, right? That's what Derek Brown does for his offense, guys. Derek Brown is my old cat, Vincent, reincarnated. Yeah, and the cat was named Vincent. That's a sick name, right? He used to drink wine on the back porch when Mom was out there. Shout out Miss Raines. She's always in the chat. He would leave these dead animals just sitting there on the front stoop. He's like, look, I got you a gift. That's what Derek Brown does for this offense. And Bryce Young goes out there and he does whatever little seance type fucking thing he needs to do with those dead animals. And he gets us W's as the Reaper, as the Carolina Reaper. Brought that home. Curtis, you weren't sure I was going to be able to, and I did. How impressive was that one, bud? But Derek Brown, he's never going to show up on the stat sheet the way that like a Leonard Williams does, because he's not used in the way that a Leonard Williams is used in Seattle. He's also not the same kind of player, man. Derek Brown's most prolific season was when he had 100 tackles, because he is one of the, if not the best run-stopping defensive tackle in the NFL. The other part is when you talk about sacks, man, we really, really want these sacks, right, to bolster our argument for him being good. How about the passes defended? Can we talk about that for a minute? Because these pass defense that he has, 7 this season, I mean, you're talking about those being equivalent to stops in the football game. Those are plays where he has literally stopped a play from gaining steam and developing into whatever it could develop into, right? He is nipping it at the bud. That is the same as a run stuff. No, it's not the same as a sack because you don't lose yardage. I get that argument, whatever you want to say. Stopping a play or forcing a negative for an offense and stopping their sequencing is a huge part of the game. And Derek Brown does that at such a high level. And I just think that we have got to start recognizing, and I'm glad Kay Adams did. She has a huge platform. She has a huge voice. I agree with everything she says wholeheartedly. I don't care what it is. I will, you talk about, glad she gave him the flowers. We should all buy her flowers, right? And if you guys don't want to, I will, but that's another podcast for another conversation. Derek Brown has had an outstanding season. He's had an outstanding career, and I am so happy to see him bouncing back from that injury in this way. Because I know that when we talked about this going into the season, boys, I was a little bit nervous about I didn't know what this was going to turn into, right? I did not know how he was going to come back. A man that large coming off of that serious of an injury came back, was absolutely phenomenal.
Dominant.
And he's leading us. And he's got this defense playing in his form of defense.
I'll just say Ricky is like a young John Steinbeck. Shout out of Mice and Men.
Hey, there you go. I like that. I don't know that everyone else will get that one, but that's a good one.
All right, let's talk about this guy. We mentioned him off the top a little bit, but yeah, I mean, prior to this week, it's been the Rico show, and it seems like Chuba. He talked about it, his injury. He thought he kind of rushed it back a little bit. And over these past like 2 or 3 weeks, you started to see the old Chuba Hubbard again. He started, running through guys again, honestly. And in this past game, he was given a lot of runs, I believe, inside the tackles. I thought I saw a stat this week where a lot of them were inside the tackles, and he was the third down back really in this game, where Rico and Canales touch on it, where Rico got the first and second downs, and then Chuba was the third down guy. And he got some hard, tough runs in there, and he looked like himself again in this game, and statistically did better than Rico in this one. And we talked about this several weeks ago. It's probably 5-6 weeks ago by now, but ride the hot hand. Who's ever the guy rolling with it, ride it. And that seems to be Chuba right now. And I don't know if it's Rico dealing with an injury. It kind of seems like that right now. I don't know. It's hard to say. He hasn't really come. I know he was battling something a couple of weeks ago, but Chuba he's running like his old self and playing like his old self last year. So hats off to him, man, because I know I was kind of lead of, let's get Rico the touches, because he was the better back for several weeks. And that is kind of shifting right now. So I don't mind that. I love it. I love that Carolina's kind of got, I think Jonathan Stewart said it today or the other day, like this two-headed monster. I think this team, they need to, when it's playoff time, you will see the good teams. They'll lean on their backs when it's time to really play in those late November, December, January games. And this is a good problem to have with both of these guys running hard and playing well. Because if they can continue this and Dave Canales can stick to that style of play, man, this team is going to be fun down the stretch. They really are. Chuba Hubbard played outstanding this past week. And I wanted to be the first to say that, because I know I was like, hey, let's ride Rico here until Chuba proves otherwise. And he's proven it. He's playing really well right now. So, Ricky, why don't we go to you? Because I know you created, and every time I try to think of the nickname you gave him, it just fails me. Yeah, you gave him that nickname. You created the graphic. I stole it from you for my fantasy team.
And you can't even remember it?
I know. I just have a terrible memory, dude. That's the reality.
Maybe you got the horns too tight. Chuba Hubbard, look, here's the deal. We've talked about it for the past few weeks about Chuba as well. He's getting healthy. And actually, hold on real quick, guys, before I get into him, I wanted to highlight Matty Coop's comment, because I always love when we get this. And this isn't tooting our own horn, but usually a podcast listener that's the first time tuning into the live stream on YouTube. Love the work y'all put in and listening every week. Coaching and play calling was the biggest difference. Agree 100% with the coaching and play calling being the biggest difference and the execution of it. But shout out to Matty for getting in here and watching this as
I know, Bryce,
video and a live stream.
you just took a swig, but
I'll do another one. Cheers.
Cheers, man. Appreciate you, Maddie. But the reason I bring that up is because sometimes, man, I talk to people that will listen to the show or watch the show, and they said, hey, I caught the show live last night, and it's such a cool experience live because, like, you guys are interacting with the chat. You guys have a lot of energy. You're boozing, which is always fun, right? Anytime that you see people just real time boozing, it's like you're sitting at the bar with them, bellied up and hanging out with your pals. That's the whole point of what we do. I appreciate everyone that comes in here and watches live, and that's why we're doing this jersey giveaway the way that we're doing it right now. That right there is also professional work right there, ladies and gentlemen. That tied it right back into this jersey giveaway, specifically for the people that are watching live, because you have to comment hashtag on tap in the chat for an entry into the jersey giveaway. For every $5 increment for super chats, you get another entry. If you become a member or are a member of the Panthers on Tap Room on YouTube, we'll put up that little QR code here that you can scan and get in. $4.99 a month. That's all it is for the membership. 3 entries right away, right off the bat for a jersey. Get in there. We're going to do this again next week so that all the people like Matty Coops used to just listen. Everyone that listens is going to have a chance to get in here next week and do the same process again. All right, Chuba Hubbard. 17 carries, 83 yards, 2 receptions, 41 yards, the touchdown. We know the touchdown on 4th down. You see the statistic over there too. 0 pressures on 26 pass blocking opportunities this season, most of any running back who was not allowed a pressure. That is an underappreciated part of Chuba Hubbard's game, and it's the reason why he's become the 3rd down back. It isn't something that Chuba has always been great at, boys. It is something that they brought in Miles Sanders to be the 3rd down back at times last season, right? It is a testament of what Chuba Hubbard does. Everyone knows that he goes and he gets on the jugs machine, right? Everyone knows that because of his struggles catching the football early in his career, and he's dropped a couple this year as well. But that's not the only thing this guy works on, man. He works on the little things. He works on the nuances, and he provides value to his football team. This is a great example of what you want on your team. When everyone was talking about trading Chuba Hubbard away because Rico Dowdle was running rabid with the football, you would lose this element of a football player. You would lose this.
We hate a plethora of talent. We're like allergic to it.
His fan base is like, dude, you could get a cool draft pick, though. You might get a 4th round pick for him. And then you might have 2 Jatavion Sanders on the team instead of Chuba Hubbard.
Oh, God. You're gonna make me
Doesn't everyone want
up.
that? Never mind. I was about to go on an Adam Thielen type rant again. But the other person still plays for a team. And, hey, you know what? Let me not do that. Let me switch that up. Shout out to Jatavion Sanders.
He had a pancake block this past week, damn it.
He had a pancake block they tried to call a hold, and that was horseshit. And I thought that was going to end up costing.
That was his best block as a Panther.
It was his best block as an NFL player. It's probably his best block as a blocker. I never watched his high school tape, but it was definitely his best at Texas.
They said no way that was legal coming from JT Sanders.
Right. They saw the result of it, Bryson. They flagged the result, and they were like, no way. I don't care how it happened. We don't like it. I really did think that was going to hose us. I thought that was going to take us out of that football game. Shout out the resiliency of this team to not let that do it. But shout out JT Sanders because he was a team player. He was excited when his team was doing well. He was trying to do the right things. He just has limitations from a physical standpoint, I think. And that is difficult to overcome when you ask him to do one specific thing and it's not necessarily working. But love the attitude. If we're going to praise Chuba for the attitude, I'm going to give that right back to JT here for a second.
Can we talk about here for a second? And I know, Ricky, you'll be able to chime on this a lot more than Bryson and I, but they use, and I haven't paid attention these previous games, but I just noticed it because I was in the end zone. So I kind of almost get the all 22 from a lower level of the 3 tight end sets. I mean, you saw JT, Mitchell Evans, and Tremble out there constantly in this game, this 3 tight end set. And I know you had highlighted one of the all 22s where they had that almost like diamond formation. You had the 2 back, you had Tommy Tremble, I think it was Chuba, and then you had Rico in the back behind Bryce Young, and it looks like a diamond. That's what I call it. I don't know. I'm making shit up. But I don't know. Those were some things that I don't remember seeing much of, and maybe they've done that way more, and I just haven't paid attention to it. But I thought it was a lot more in this game.
They did run different personnel. So they usually run 11 personnel, like close to 70% of the game. They were in 11 about 55% on this game. They mixed in a little bit more 12. 12, I think, was around 16. And then they ran 13, which is what we're talking about here. That 13 was a little bit closer to, I think it was 8% for this game. I'd have to look that up. I didn't bring those statistics with me. But that look with the two running backs in the backfield together, we've done some of that. But it hasn't been out of that full house formation. That full house formation, that's one of the first times that we've done that. And what an effective play call to run the toss on that too. It was just really smart football, man. They really did coach a good football game on Sunday, and everything just fired at the right way. Need to shout out Corbett. As a fan from Nevada, he has a special place. He has stepped up with Mays out after a tough start to the season. Yeah, look, I like that Corbett hasn't been a revolving door at center in the past couple of games. I look forward to Cade Mays coming back. I will say that. Jake Curahan, maybe this is a good time to plug that again. That's why I'm sitting here drinking the Miller High Life, is in honor of our buddy Jake Curahan. Terrific game. And you know what? I think this actually might have been his worst game he's played in like extended reps. He had a handful of opportunities that did not go his way. And then he also had extremely impactful moments where he played very well. But he's a third or a fourth string offensive lineman that wasn't even expected to be in. And he comes in and he does his job, and he does it well. Guys, he does it better than Chandler Zavala, who they used the draft pick on. He did it close. I think Brady Christensen was having a fantastic season, so it's tough to say. But, man, there's not a huge gap with Curahan and Brady Christensen, right? What are you laughing about?
I love Brady having a good season. I wish he was still healthy. Damn it. There was another guy I wanted to talk about here quickly. Nick Scott. We touched on it a little bit.
Yeah.
But Nick Scott, let's talk about him. Someone brought it up earlier in the comments, and has that pick. It was off the DB, SWAT early in the game. But no one's talking about that moment. And they were in field goal range there. We might have a different outcome if that play doesn't happen. I know it was way early in the game and everything else, but that was huge in that moment. Obviously, I think Ricky might have come down with that one. It was right there in the end zone, just sitting waiting for him.
He got up there pretty high for that. I don't think that
I don't know if anyone was around him. There was another Panther around him. I don't even know if there was a player around him, a Rams player.
I thought he got hit. On the interception.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm giving Ricky more credit than he deserves, I guess, then.
I appreciate it.
But no, let's talk about Nick Scott, because we've all shitted on him. Let's be real here. And, we thought that was going to be a major weakness coming into this season. And deservedly so. He played really bad last year. There's no doubt about that. But comes in this year, he's had some bumps along the way. He doesn't look great in moments all the time. But I feel like he's been sufficient enough in this defense to make things work. I don't know if that's the right way to phrase it, but he hasn't hurt them so bad that it's lost them games to this point. And he's had some moments, but yeah, I feel like when he's surrounded by talent with, the additions of Merrick and JC Horn healthy and Mike Jackson and some of these other guys, he hasn't looked as bad as he did last year.
Yeah, I agree. I thought he would be a clear liability on this defense week in and week out, and he has not shown that. He hasn't been perfect, but I think he's played sufficient enough to where the position, there isn't like a clear hole of, okay, this is what the offense is targeting. We're going at Nick Scott, and we're going to consistently, have success doing that. I do think I agree with Carter in the chat here that, it still is a position of that, he could be replaced and, that position could be improved upon. But I think as we're going into, the rear end of this season, he has been good at that spot. Maybe not good, but he has been good enough to where it's not a clear and glaring weakness on this defense. So he's made plays, in run defense. He's made you talk about the interception this past week. He's been good enough to fill in that spot and it not be just a huge opportunity for the opposing offense to take advantage of. So he does deserve some flowers for that. And I was very, very low on him coming into the year and hoping that, I think we all were hoping that it was just like a respect for the veteran level that he's been on this team and, his history in the league, and that they were listing him as a starter. And this wasn't something that was serious. And then we get into the year and it is. And you know what? He's not played bad. I think that's fair to say. He's not played bad. So, another player I'm eating crow on, man, because him and Mike Jackson were probably two of the players I was lowest on this defense coming in to the season, and they played decent.
Ricky, before you go here, this
Curtis,
might be one of
I'm writing some stuff down.
This one might be my favorite comment of the night, and this deserves a cheer from all of us. I don't know how I haven't come across this podcast, but y'all have gained a subscriber. Cheers, Jacoby88. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man.
Cheers,
Glad
man.
You're here. Jacoby, if you haven't, make sure you comment in there, hashtag on tap. Get your name entered in there for a Panthers jersey giveaway too, man. Cheers, bud.
All right, Ricky, you got a novel for us, so let's hear it from about Nick Scott.
Look, I was one of the biggest proponents of wanting Nick Scott not only off the 53-man roster, but definitely not starting at safety. I'll tell you this. I think he might be the best coverage safety we've had this season. He has had missed tackles from playing from depth. He's gone for the big play sometimes where he could go for the fundamental play, and that's cost him. But he has also made some seriously sound reads on defense, man. He's in position. One of my biggest gripes with him last season coming into this year and why I doubted him so much was they always touted the communication of him having experience in the system and how that was his big advantage over everybody else, right? Over Damani Richardson, over Lathan Ransom was the experience and the communication. But my question was always, if he has such great communication experience, why is he always out of place in the deep third of the defense? How is he always blowing coverages back there? He hasn't done that a lot this season, if hardly at all, to be completely honest. I think he deserves not only an apology from me and from a majority of our fan base, but he deserves a lot of the recognition that some of these other guys like Mike Jack are getting. Without Nick Scott's steady hand in coverage and playing that free safety role, allowing Evero and Trayvon Merrick to do what they have been doing so often this season, I don't think that we see the resurgence of this defense. And that's not me saying that Nick Scott is responsible for the resurgence of the defense. But, man, we talk about a collective. We talk about everyone having to do their part, 1 of 11. His 1 of 11 is an important one, man. And he's doing it to a pretty high level on a consistent basis. We could get frustrated on the big plays that he's given up because he has given up some. We know the Jacksonville game we can go back to. We can go back to a couple other ones. But he has played at a much higher level than I think anyone anticipated. And I'm very happy that he's here. I am very happy that he's been given this chance. And I'm very happy to apologize and say, hey, Nick Scott, good on you, man.
All right. I texted you guys today, and it might have gotten buried. So I apologize. So if you don't remember this text, that's on you. But I asked these guys about their biggest surprises up to this point, because I feel like this is a good point to kind of talk about how this season has went up. We're into week 14 by a week. We obviously don't have a game this next week or this upcoming weekend. And I asked them biggest surprises as a team as a whole, and then focus in on one player, one thing that surprised you about a player on this team. I'm going to start with Ricky, and we're going to go with the team here.
Start with Bryson. I'm doing something.
So, Bryson, we'll start as a team first, and we'll all go through it as a team. Your biggest surprise up to past week 13 of what this Panthers team has done this season. What's the biggest surprise to you?
I would say, obviously, one area that has surprised a lot of people is the defense. And I would say specifically the second half defense that the Panthers have shown, through this point into the season. I think 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, I highlighted the points allowed in the second half for this defense. it's like 7-7, 7-3. There was like one game where they allowed like 21, then like 7-7, 7-7, 7-3. Like they've locked into a level in the second half in particular. Evero's done a really good job this year. I mean, there's no way around it. He has done a fantastic job with this defense. And we all have gripes about some of the schemes that he runs, whether that's the off-ball coverage or whatever it may be. But the defense has just shown up this season. You know, we were talking about if they could be coming into this year, we were talking about if they could be a 28th overall ranked defense, up from 32 last year, that we would be happy with that. Like, that's improvement, and I think that would give the team a chance. And they're a middle-of-the-road defense. There's still room for improvement in regards to rushing the passer. I think that is a clear weakness in this defense right now. But when we talk about stopping the run and, pass defense, this team has proven to be really, I think, above average in those areas. So I would say the defense, and more specifically the second half defense, where they go in at halftime, they adjust, Evero makes adjustments, and the defense locks in and gives this team a chance to go out there, or the offense a chance to go out there and win the game. So I'm very pleased what I've seen so far from this team, and I hope that, and I believe that it continues through the end of the year. The defense has just played above and beyond my expectations.
That's a damn good response. Bryce, Ricky?
You go, Curtis.
I would say the teams that they beat so far is the biggest thing for me. I did not expect them to beat Dallas. I did not expect this team to beat the Packers. I did not expect this team to beat the Rams. I was optimistic in those and wanted them to beat those teams and predicted some of those. But beginning of the season, that was not one of my wins predictions. I thought they were going to beat bad teams and lose to the good teams. And they have exceeded my expectations across the board on that. And I know it's been a roller coaster ride, and they've lost to some of those bad teams along the way. But to get big statement wins is, man, every time I'm on a heater, someone's got some jackass comment. I can never. It's always someone. But no, I appreciate you, Panthers, bro. We're gonna hit you up becoming a member here shortly. But that is probably my biggest thing. Someone in the chat nailed it, and I wish I would have thought of that. So I'm not going to steal your thunder, but I do want to highlight it. And that's Jacoby here. Bigger surprise is the rookie class. I mean, that's a really good one. And maybe that's Ricky's. I don't know. We'll hear from him shortly. But, yeah, I would say the statement wins against really good football teams this year was my biggest surprise.
I wanted to just do the video and all the fun stuff before
we'll do the video after this.
Fine, Dad.
And then we'll get to the super chats, and then we'll get to the
I get it. Yeah, eat your vegetables before dessert. I get it, Dad. Okay. Biggest surprise from a team standpoint. Oh man. It's got to be the defense. It just has to be. Like, I don't think that there's another way. The rookie class is really good. I like that. But it's not overly surprising to me for the most impactful rookies. Like Tedero McMillan, I anticipated being our wide receiver one out of the gate. I just thought that made a lot of sense. It wasn't because I didn't believe in guys like Xavier Legette and Jalen Coker, but Tedero McMillan is different, man. And we talked about that, in the draft shows. We talked about it on draft night. But this defense, man, we didn't know what we were going to get. We were coming off a historically bad season. Let's not forget that. It wasn't like we were 27th in the league and we were bottom of the barrel in most things. We were last in pretty much everything. And a lot of it, we were last historically in the NFL. Like, you're talking about giving up rushing yards like, it's prom night and someone spiked the punch a little bit too much. Like, it was easy going for a lot of those guys. That's bad news bears. There's just a lot that happened in a quick amount of time. I think that's what I really come back to, man. And we had doubts about Ejiro Evero, right? And so that's where I think it's like compounded for me.
We hold the phone here.
Every single one of us had doubts about Ejiro Evero.
Not me. You're wrong. Go back, watch the tape.
I will.
I did not have doubts about Evero, but go ahead.
I think that if you didn't, then I have doubts about you, because I don't think that there was anything that defense. And look, I don't mean this as a negative to Evero. Evero has proved his salt this year.
Y'all wanted him canned. I didn't. You know that. Come on now.
I wanted him to stay here because I wanted him to prove his weight and then get a compensatory pick when he left. That's what I wanted. That is exactly what I wanted. And you know what? I think he's gonna get looks for head coaching jobs.
Yeah.
Right. But his contract is also going to be over at the end of this year. So I got to look at like when that contract expires and the legality behind all that, because we may be out of luck with the compensatory thing. He may get hired for another job and his contract may be up with us. So we could be screwed on that. But I just think that what this defense has done, and when you look at some of this too, Josie Jewell retired at the beginning of this year before the year began. Right? Yeah. RIP to Bryson's guy, man. Like, that was the sheriff. Man, we would have had some really cool video stuff with Josie Jewell in the
about that.
We would have had some really good stuff with the outlaw thing with the victory video. It would have been great. But we lost our starting linebacker, which also thrust Christian Roseboom in his first season here into that position.
Mm-hmm.
Trevin Wallace all of a sudden had a whole lot more onus on his plate as a second-year, third-round pick. Trevin Wallace is 22 years old. Like, this dude has a lot of development still to go. He's got the physical abilities, but his instincts and things like that are things that they are still coaching. Discipline, they are still coaching. Mike Jack, question marks about him. Nick Scott, question marks about him. Trayvon Merrick, we felt really good about that addition, right? DJ Wanham, everyone loved and thought that he was going to be our sack leader, right, Curtis? Thought he was going to lead the team in sacks. Some of us thought Pat Jones.
Wait, why are we going into individual players? This is a team conversation.
Because the individual players make the team. It's an entire grouping. I just think that there were so many question marks. And for us to be riding this middle of the pack and even like top of the list, not like first or second in the league, but top half of the list in rush defense, in pass defense, our pressures still suck, man. And that is something that, from a defensive scheme standpoint, it seems like Evero is saying, we're going to try to make this work without it. Like, I don't think he's putting an onus on trying to get more pressures at this point. Agreed. I think he's saying, hey, look, man, I done seen 13 games of this. Yeah. Y'all ain't getting there. So I'm going to figure out another way to go about these Sundays, because I'm not making my job on you guys all of a sudden getting home. But yeah, a lot of development in this secondary and in this defense that has really encouraged me, really made me believe in Ejiro Evero. The rookie class is great, but this defense is the story for me as far as surprises.
Love to hear it. Believing in Evero. I'd love to hear it. What a turnaround. Let's hit this victory video, and then we'll go back to the new I appreciate the chat getting involved. So let us know. I saw you guys' surprises as a team, and I they're still coming in here. But let us know your biggest surprises as just an individual player on this as well, because we do appreciate that, and that allows us to interact with you guys as well.
No doubt. But before we do that, now that we got the video out of the way, because Panther Bo here says, "Charge me a nickel. What a deal! Request a Cowboy song. Shout out defense." And he requests that because Panther Bo became our newest member of the Panthers on Tap.
Go!
Thank you, sir.
Panther Bo C9C.
We also
went on the YouTube to do it, man. I appreciate that.
We also have a super chat from Carter, $4.99. People, I'm not used to that audio yet. People I shit on, I'm apologizing for. Nick Scott, Ejiro Evero, Mike Jackson, XL, Tommy Tremble, Nick Scorton. Damn, Carter, you might as well. It was just a novel.
Carter,
Sam
man.
Martin, Dalton retire. Appreciate the super chat, Carter.
Dalton can still retire. That's
This is a
totally
cool,
fine with me.
nice way to tie in with the Nick Scorton thing is when Panther Bo says here, when your rookie show leadership, it's a great sign. That I agree with that 100% too, man. That's that like building of culture within the building, and it's a very organic way that's building too, because it's who you're bringing in. It's their comfortability in that locker room. So that's a great point.
We have one more super chat, $4.99, Jake _RP12. Fellas, nothing else to say other than I love this team. I love you guys. Seems like the Bryce Canales distrust narrative is gone.
Amen.
Keep pounding. Appreciate you.
We love you too, Jake, man.
Great,
Shout
dude.
out.
Great comment right there. I love that. Seems like the Bryce.
He's a Canes fan, and he's got a golden retriever, it looks like.
I love that. Seems like the Bryce Canales distrust narrative is gone, because you know what, man? It should be, and it shouldn't have been a narrative from the beginning. It was inconsistency, and it was a failure to commit to both, right? It wasn't that he didn't trust him, dude. If he didn't trust him, why was he calling some of the things that he was calling, right? Like, he would be saddling himself as a head coach to not be drawing things up just because he didn't trust him. That was just an inconsistency in learning and getting his sea legs under him. Great point, Jake. Great point.
All right, Ricky, we're going to start with you on this. Biggest surprise from a Panthers player up this point, good or bad, doesn't matter. I know you're going to go good because you're the optimistic fella.
Why would I go bad? We're 7-6 and fighting for the playoffs. Why would I take this opportunity on the bye week? Why would I take this opportunity to be like, well, you know what, guys? I've been really disappointed. No, fuck no, I'm not going to do that.
I'm going to. So here we go. All right, Ricky.
Great. How would I have known that? That Dr. Evil would have something negative to say. All right, my biggest surprise from a Panthers player. Man, this is tough. You put me on the spot, and I wasn't exactly ready for
homework.
No, I didn't do my homework. I was doing a whole lot of other things. Biggest surprise. Can Bryson just go, please? He looks like he's ready.
Yeah, sure.
Bryson, can you
go?
Sure,
yeah, sure. I'll go.
Thanks, Bryson.
Yeah, I we touched on him a lot earlier, but I think it's for me, because I was so low on him. And him being a huge liability, it's Nick Scott. I mean, I hate to just re-harp on what we just talked about, but he's played to a level to where it's at least average. I think maybe slightly below or slightly above, depending on who you ask. But at his position, not being a huge liability that I thought he was going to be, game in and game out, a clear weakness. I thought defenses were going to pick on him because of what we saw last season from him at that spot when he was a starter before he got replaced. I thought it was a mistake, and I thought that opposing offenses were going to make us pay for him being on the field, and it just hasn't been that this season. And I think that he deserves flowers for that, which we gave him earlier. But, I mean, for me, in my opinion, I mean, him playing to the level that he has to this point has just been a complete shocker to me. So not only shout out to Nick Scott, but shout out to the coaching staff and more specifically the defensive coaches on this team they caught a lot of flack for listing him as a starter. I'm sure many of them saw that on social media and they rolled with it, and they've continued to roll with it, and he has not let them down. I wouldn't think, with the level of play he's put on the field, coming off a game that he got an interception. Yeah, we're riding high right now on Nick Scott at that spot, but I think when you go back and you look at the season up to this point as a whole, you can't point to him and being like, that Nick Scott's the reason we lost the game. So I would say my biggest surprise, just in my own personal opinion for, going into this year, Nick Scott's probably been the biggest surprise to me on this team.
Yeah, I'll go and I'll let Ricky finish since he's going to be Mr. Positive. And he's kind of stole my thunder when he was answering with the team, and he named 6 players off of it.
He sounds so angry, so salty.
DJ Wanham. I mean, I picked that guy to be the sack leader, and it's clear that Jadeveon Clowney was the reason that guy got sacks last year. I mean, I think that seems obvious at this point. He was getting cleanup on what Clowney was doing. He kind of did that in Minnesota, but I just thought he would have stepped up because I think there was a lot more pressure on him and Pat Jones. And obviously Pat Jones goes down, but Wanham, those sack numbers have not come. So that is one. And then I'm gonna kind of take another one here quickly.
Twofer.
And that's Xavier Legette. Like, I thought he was gonna have more, statistically a better season up to this point. Kind of more of a bounce back. I feel like he's become more sure-handed this year in catching passes when they're actually thrown his way. And I don't know if he's gotten a ton of opportunities up to this point. Because obviously we talked about this last week with him not knowing where the out of bounds is. And that's something he's got to pick up on. But Legette, I thought, was going to have higher numbers up to this point. And he just hasn't. And I think it's kind of a mixture of the connection there with Bryce Young up to this point, and also he just hasn't had a ton of opportunities. He hasn't been thrown a ton. I think he had one. I don't know how many targets he had this past week, but he had one catch, I think, maybe up to this point. So those are probably the two biggest for me.
I'm surprised that if you were going to go offensive player that has disappointed you, you didn't say Jatavian Sanders because of how high you were on Jatavian Sanders.
Yeah.
Especially with him cutting the weight and looking like a wide receiver out there.
Yeah, but I've always just had higher expectations for Legette.
Yeah, I hear you. That's fair. He's first round pick opposed to a fourth round pick. I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
I think the expectations should be higher on one end. Bryson, I got back at the very tail end. You went Nick Scott there?
Yeah, just because I was so low on him. I mean, I can't not go Nick Scott.
Fair. All right, so I'm going to go 2 as well. I'm going to do it because Curtis opened the door. And Katie was really right around both of the ones that I was talking about on offense. And that was Ike Mekwonu and Bryson Tremaine. Now, Bryson Tremaine, what I'll say about why I don't go with Bryson Tremaine, he's had a really significant impact with the blocking and as a special teams player. I think that I anticipated him being a core 4 special teams guy, but I didn't know that he was going to see the offense as much as he had. Even when fully healthy, Bryson Tremaine has packages that he's coming in for. He is fantastic as a blocker. Shout out to him. I think he deserves some flowers. But Ike Mekwonu, I think, and we talked about this before the season, I did expect him to be better and improved, but I still thought that he had a long way to go before you start talking about, like, he's earned that extension, right? He's earned his money. He's earned his ability to say, I should be the left tackle of this team. I think he's done it, guys. It's been 13 football games in this season. He would have to have a significant breakdown to not get extended after the season. I think that he has earned money. I think that he has solidified his pass protection in a way that when he is one-on-one on an island, I don't feel queasy anymore. I feel like he can hold up. I feel like he can do that job. And then as a run blocker, Ike Mekwonu, I already said at the beginning of this year, he was already a top 10 offensive tackle for me as a run blocker in the NFL. And I don't think he's done anything to change that. His movement, his athleticism as a tackle, and his just raw brute power is exceptional, man. It is above league average. It is close to elite tiers. If his pass blocking continues to improve, which it will, here's the thing too, man. We're talking about a guy getting an extension. He was a young player when he was drafted. This dude is still a young football player. Like, we watched Taylor Moton. Taylor Moton still gets better at times than what he was at his 26, 27, 28 year, right? In the NFL. You learn things and you get consistent in things as you have experience, reps, and confidence. And I think that's what's happening with Ike Mekwonu, is I think that he is really starting to learn how to play that position. I think he's feeling confident in it. So he's my offensive guy. I'm going to go Mike Jack on the defensive side. And it's not because we didn't think that Mike Jack was okay, but I called this the best or a top 5 cornerback tandem in the league. Is that what I said? I still believe it.
Last week, man, I won't forget it.
And I'm going to tell you what, watching Mike Jack operate as the 1 against the Rams only deepened my stance in that. Because if that's what he is able to do with Shaw Smith-Wade and a Caleb Evans on the other side of him, instead of J.C. Horn, what are we talking about, dude? Mike Jack is probably graded out on almost any site you could find. And look, I'm not telling you to rely on these sites as like take that number and say that this is who's a better player. Almost any site you could go to, I think that Mike Jack is going to grade out better than JC Horn on the season. And I mean that sincerely. He has had shutdown performances. He has had pass breakups because he's been targeted more. So he's had more opportunities for impact plays. And when he's been given those opportunities for impact plays, he's made good ones more often than not, man. I like this top 5 cornerback duo in the league, and a lot of it is because of Mike Jack. I think that he has been a huge surprise. I think he has been a huge pleasant surprise, and I absolutely love it.
You guys, I don't mean to cut you off, but do you guys agree with this?
I do not.
No, I don't either. And Carter, you got to let us know what you're. Carter, you've hated like half the team this year, so I need to know what you're thinking, man.
Carter, is this your way of losing the Panthers part of that Panthers-Texans thing you got going on? Are you going full Texan on us?
I got to know what you're seeing here, because I felt like, he took the green dot away from Roseboom this season and kind of freed up Roseboom a little bit, and I love that comment too about.
Yeah, sorry, you were still talking. I went brief.
No, we shuffled through that. I thought that was a great comment. So when I saw you put it back up, it's worthy. But I feel like Wallace has, I don't know if exceeded is the right word, but honestly has played decent enough. Like I didn't expect him to take the green dot. I thought he was very overwhelmed this past season, and I don't know if I see that as much. You guys agree with that? Like I don't agree with what Carter's saying.
I think Wallace has shown, in my opinion, expected growth in year 2. Coming into, off of a struggled rookie season. I think he's shown growth, and I think, to the level I'm pleased with. I think it's acceptable. I wouldn't say I'm disappointed in Wallace this season, so I would disagree as well.
Carter's
Now Carter said Trevor Wallace has been great. He's guys, I'm kidding. I wanted a reaction. Fair enough. But you know what? It's a conversation that happens a lot in like Panthers Twitter or like in the social media world. Trevor Wallace is a little bit of a hot button, right? Like people either believe in him as a guy that has ability and talent and that can be developed into the starter. Some believe he already is like shoe in for that starter role. And then some believe that he just doesn't have the instincts, doesn't have any of it, right? I don't know that I believe the latter at all. I think that for Trevor Wallace, man, dude, we're talking about a 3rd-round pick, right? Sometimes I just think that people expect too much out of some of these young guys. He was 21 years old when he was drafted. Do you think that this franchise looked at him?
Shitty team.
Right. Do you think that this franchise looked at him and said as a 21-year-old that he was going to come in as a 3rd-round pick, 21 years old, and that he should immediately prove himself as the starter for the next decade just because he's fast and can hit hard? Because that's what they bet on. They bet on traits, right? I think that this year, maybe they even would have had a little bit more of like a platoon going with Josie Jewell, Christian Roseboom, and Trevin to work him in and get him comfortable into certain roles, into certain attacks that they wanted him to be able to excel at. And instead, he has been put into a position where he's an every down back. He's your dime linebacker when it's not Trayvon Merrick. And all of a sudden, he's your coverage guy, and coverage hasn't been his thing. He's gotten better in that. His run fits have been a lot more sound, I think. He still has gaffes. But, dude, this is what we talked about earlier with the Bryce Young thing when he missed 5 passes out of 20, right? We have got to stop being so hypercritical about 1, 2, 3 mistakes in a game. How many snaps does Trevor Wallace play in a game? 100% of them when he's healthy. He's one of the few defenders that plays 100% of the snaps. And he did it. So if we're going to sit here and talk about a guy who plays, and Curtis, I'm not sure what the chuckles are over there. I'm going to get to it after this. What did I say? Did I do something?
No, you look like a preacher in Yellowstone.
I love that. That makes me feel better about myself.
In Yellowstone or Righteous Gemstones?
What did you have to drink, Curtis? What were you drinking?
No,
tonight?
I just noticed your whole outfit now. It was just like an epiphany.
You saw my berries and stuff, my holly berries over here.
Yeah. Holly berries.
Hey, this is real stuff, man. I got my tassels. I got my accoutrement. I'm real deal. Yeah, I just think that sometimes, man, we're a little bit tough on some of these guys, and I am too, man, because that's part of what we do as analysis or whatever. Panther Dog, I see you pause. I felt like saying it, man, right when I said it. You see my berries. I felt the same thing, bro. I did. Trust me, I get it. But I know that we have to give analysis. I know we have to give opinion, but overall, as fans, sometimes maybe we should just take a little step back from the critique and enjoy the fact we're 7-6. The defense is playing well. The offense is coming into their own. We got a chance here, boys, after the bye. Now, we don't have any statistically speaking or anything like that because we get the week off, and I ain't going to just do it just for the fun of it.
We're not doing it yet.
But we're not doing what yet?
The statistically speaking. We'll do that next week.
No, that's what I said. Is this guy drunk, Bryson? Are you saying the same thing that I'm seeing?
Dude, the horns got to be getting to him or something.
The horns are getting to him, man.
They're digging into his brain as we speak.
We got to get to the newest member, and then I have one more question to end.
Okay,
this.
But before, I wanted to finish with the really important part, and that was that when we get to
we got a new member, Maddie Coops, 10. Appreciate
Maddie?
you.
Now, Maddie is the one that was a listener, and then tonight is his first night watching live, and now he's a member, so he just got himself 3 more entries. That's 4 on the night that he's got.
All right, we're going to end on this conversation. It came up today. I read the article. It sounded more like an opinion to me than anything, than an actual report. But Dan Graziano, it's been a hot topic in the Panthers Twitterverse, which sometimes just blows my mind when the Panthers are 7-6 and have the best record since many, many years.
Right.
Dan Graziano expects the Panthers to pick up Bryce Young's 5th-year option. There is Bryce Young is a very polarizing player among this fan base and the entire NFL. Let's be real on that. And it's either you liked Bryce, you wanted the Panthers to draft him, or you wanted CJ Stroud or someone else. And it's been a crossroads ever since he's been drafted. That's pretty damn obvious up to this point. But I just wanted to get your guys' take on this. I think Panthers bow hit on the head. I think it is pretty damn obvious that you'd be idiotic not to pick up his 5th-year option. That's the way I'll put it. But I wanted to get your guys' take on air live about this, of what you think of the 5th-year option and beyond that point, because that is going to be a conversation at some point. I kind of think I know where Ricky is leaning on this, but let's start with Bryson with this report specifically. And then if you want to touch on beyond this, you can, but just thoughts on the 5th-year option.
Yeah, I read the report too, Curtis, and in the report, it does really sound like, it's just his opinion at this point. So I think he was kind of misquoted on what we saw floating around Twitter. But I think anyone with a brain could say, hey, I expect the Carolina Panthers to pick up Bryce Young's 5th-year option at this point. He's only gotten better, every single season. We're still putting together the consistency part of it, as well as with his head coach. We talked about that earlier. But he's shown he has the ability multiple times in multiple seasons to be a very good quarterback in this league. And I think you would be doing an extreme detriment to any team or process of garnering a winning team on the field to just throw that away. It would just be just a disservice. It would be blasphemy. I mean, you'd have Stephen A on First Take just going crazy. I think it's stupid to not even to have this conversation. I think it's crazy. Of course, they're going to pick up his 5th-year option. I think that's as clear and as obvious as anything at this point in regards to this team. So I think in that article I read, it was like 26.5. I think is his 5th year is what it would cost the team. Yeah. 26.5 million for his cap hit, which is still not bad for a starting quarterback. You can still build around that. And then, going into year 5, you work on that extension, based off on how he does this season and next year, right? You're not bought in for 5 more years. It's the smartest thing to do in regards to, you drafted in the 1st round, so you have that 5th-year option, and you still give him a chance to show more on the field, which, in my personal opinion, he's done enough to earn a next contract. But I'm extremely biased, and I've liked Bryce Young for a while, so I think it buys yourself more time as a franchise, and also gives Bryce more time, to show on the field that he deserves that top end level contract that he's probably going to garner to be here in Carolina for a long time. So, no shit. I agree. Panther Bow, they're picking up the 5th-year option.
I'm going to start by bringing up this super chat real quick. Jake, our commented a couple times as well.
Go,
Ricky,
Jake.
my life after the Blitz stuff made me LOL. Look, man, that's what brought me here, right? If Jake Curahan can wear the Miller High Life hat and then they say that you got to be an extra kind of raw to drink it, I'm just proving my salt here, right?
He's kind of raw.
Cheers, man. Home. Cheers, Jake. 5th-year option. Here's the deal, man. I've said this a couple times and I'm going to say it again. They've got 4 more games this season, right? I know the way that this franchise operates. I know the way that Dave Canales operates. I know what he would say when asked about the situation. We're still collecting all the data, right? And they got 4 more games to collect the rest of the data. They're going to do that. Does that mean that they have no inclination on what they're leaning towards? Of course they have an inclination. And the perception of fans is different than the intention of the front office and the decision makers in that building. When we talk about Bryce being inconsistent, understand that they're aware and also willing to accept their role in that, right? Because I think that so often it's easy for fans to sit there and point the finger at Bryce Young. Either A, you have a predetermined bias about Bryce Young because he's short, small, and you said 3 years ago that he was going to be a bust and that you really, really want to be able to hang your hat on that and be right on the internet for all your internet friends. Or you just don't believe that the issues that you're seeing are correctable. And that's okay, man. I'm not going to fault people for feeling the way they feel as a fan, but to ignore the high marks that you're seeing from Bryce Young is to ignore what franchises bet on. And that's the best thing that I can say about this. The way that franchises choose who they're going to risk and tether their future to is based off of the highest of moments. Because the ultimate thing that a franchise is reaching for is the highest of moments. That's hoisting the Lombardi Trophy, and that's winning a Super Bowl, right? That's winning a championship. I think that when you see Bryce Young go and battle a team like Philly last year, right? Eventual Super Bowl champions. Go and battle them in Philly, take them down to the wire, or drop pass is really the reason why it happened, reason why it didn't come to fruition. You see them play against the Kansas City Chiefs at home, by the way, also Super Bowl team. Take them down to the wire, right? And then you see this year, they've beaten the Packers in Lambeau. They beat the Rams here. Sure, they put up stinkers against the 49ers and the Saints. And the beginning of the year was garbage. The beginning of the year for a lot of teams is garbage. How do you bounce back? What do you show afterwards, right? For me, what I've seen a franchise quarterback. And I have felt that way. I know what I have felt. I know what I've said about Bryce Young. But I still believe they will take these 4 games and they will collect the data. They're not going to do this beforehand. Dan Graziano didn't cite any sources. He didn't say it was, imperative. He didn't say they were going to do it soon. He didn't say it was impending. He just said that's his expectations. Bryson said it. Panther Bo said it. And now I'm going to say it. No shit. Because what else are you going to do? Like, you don't have $26.5 million puts you in the range of some of the veteran quarterbacks in the NFL. You're not even coming out of pocket the way that you would if you don't pick it up, man. If Bryce Young goes just awful for the next 4 games and you don't pick it up, you're still going to have him. But if he continues his trajectory after 4 bad games and he ends up making you pay, it's going to run you like 45 to 50 a year. Right? So you save the money on the backside. You bank on your coaching staff being able to develop him. Man, I just grazed over those words. Did you hear that? And turned like 3 of them into 1. That was fun. I think that for me, I'm getting long-winded here, but Bryce Young is a franchise quarterback for me. I have no problem with it. I do think they'll take the next 4 games to finish their evaluation.
I hate this is a conversation in our fan base. There are so many fans with preconceived, pre-draft notions that cloud this fan base, and it's so damn frustrating because no team in the NFL with the way Bryce Young is playing is not picking this up. I don't care about the inconsistencies. I don't care about what happened the last couple of years. When you have a team that has struggled to get to 5 wins in a season and you have 7 and have exceeded most fans' expectation, there is no doubt in my mind that the Panthers are going to pick this up. And I don't think anyone in that Panthers organization feels the way half of this fan base feels. I think this fan base perception, and not us, but I'm talking about the others that were the CJ Stroud lovers, the Anthony Richardson lovers, the 5-11, Bryce Young's too small to play quarterback lovers. That's not in this Panthers organization. I don't believe that for one bit. So I think this is a no shit moment. This is a no fucking shit moment. They are picking up this 5th-year option. There is no doubt about that. And I pointed these stats out before, but Bryce Young, since he's been benched, and I gotta reference the graphics so I get this right. 37 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. That's better than CJ Stroud as the second pick in that draft. 37 touchdowns since he's been benched. He's had 11 game-winning drives in his career. That's the most. He's the youngest quarterback to get there. He's got a fucking clutch gene. There's no doubt about that.
Who was it that said that was a weird stat? That someone was like, there was some analyst that was like, oh, that's a weird. Barnwell for ESPN.
It was probably the bald guy that Bryson always calls out. That's an idiot.
Bill Barnwell. That's him. That's him.
Yeah.
He came out and he's like, oh, great. A team account putting out some weird, obscure stat. Like, it's
not an obscure stat.
He fucking
It's a massive fucking stat.
Exactly.
Okay.
Dumbass.
So I don't know why this is even a conversation. And I hate that I even brought this up, to be honest with you, because I can't stand the Twitter bullshit that goes on sometimes. Because I think it is bullshit. I really do. Because any other fan base is looking at us like, no shit, you're going to sign him into a 5th year. You don't have, who's out there? Like, that should be the fucking conversation. And we always talk about money. Ricky threw it out, 26.5 or 25.5, whatever the way you want to throw it, doesn't matter. That's cheap. That is cheap. You go out there, and then you talked about the 4, they're going to evaluate that. And I saw in the article, if you actually read all the way through, they might push back on giving Bryce Young the Trevor Lawrence type deal, the $50 million per year type stuff. But Bryce Young, up to this point, has proven he deserves that 5th option. That should not even be a conversation. And that's why I appreciate everyone in the chat's like, no shit. Dude, this is a no-brainer. You're not going to find a better quarterback at $26.5 million than Bryce Young right now. It's been a roller coaster ride. There's no doubt about that. He needs to be more consistent. We get that. But the glimpses he showed, he can beat anyone in this league, and he's proven that. He has proven that.
I also think that we shouldn't even say the word glimpses anymore, right? Because, and Curtis, I'm not saying like you specifically, right? But I've said it, and I've said, like, but the glimpses we see, it's not glimpses, though. We see glimpses of bad with Bryce Young. If we're going to be 100% honest on this, we see glimpses of bad. We see much more consistent full field reads, making the right read, making the right throw, and the process being correct and the result not ending up how it wants to end up. But quarterbacking is about process, for me at least, right? And what I see is I see a guy who's making the right reads, doing the right decisions, and making the right process more times than not. You get him on the same page as the offensive coordinator, as the play caller, Dave Canales. I think that you're going to be fine. Shout out Pro KO here. He says they want Richardson or Levis, talking about the fans that don't want the small quarterback. They want the big quarterbacks, which I think is one of the funniest things. You know, when Kay Adams came out and said that Bryce Young is the best quarterback of the 2023 draft class, I wrote an article for it for Pro Football Network. And I dissected that. And Curtis, you brought up the stats, right? 37 touchdowns to 19 interceptions, the 4,200 passing yards since the benching in the 21 game sample. Better than
we're gonna pull CJ Stroud stats up this year.
Yeah, better than CJ Stroud.
We're gonna all want to talk about CJ Stroud.
It's better than Stroud. Stroud, I believe, had 22 turnovers. I have it all in the article as well. But Anthony Richardson, if you look up his stats, I mean, he was benched for Daniel Jones before the season. If you look at Will Levis, his team drafted Cam Ward first overall, and Will Levis continued to play in the beginning of the season, and he was the starter for the first 4 games. And the Titans' record in those first 4 games, granted, they had Callahan as their head coach, they had a myriad of other issues, but their record as a Will Levis-led football team for those first 4 games was 0-4 before he suffered a season-ending injury.
Off here if I have
and then all of a sudden, Cam Ward comes in. I just think that it's a little bit crazy that we sit here and we say, like, yeah, we should bring in real competition for Bryce Young. We should bring in Anthony Richardson. We should bring in Will Levis. If you're going to bring in competition, like someone to push Bryce Young, it better be someone that's proven to be better or at his level of Bryce Young. Those players have not proven to be at the level of Bryce Young. You bring them in, it's not competition. It's you saying that you want your preference of a big, strong guy to come in, and you want to see that contrast of that player. Mac Jones is the only one that I would say that could be available on the open market that could come in as a backup and offer you a real, not competition for Bryce Young. That's not what I'm saying, but he has had proven success in the NFL, and he's operated a Shanahan system, right? That when you said, hey, he would be great in this system, he can come in, he could do that. He is the only one that's available right now that has a proven track record and an ability to win in different situations that I think you could bring in as a backup that would say, if Bryce Young were to get hurt or if Bryce Young were to falter, he's the only one I could see that could cause an actual quarterback controversy in the most theoretical situation that you can imagine. I am not saying that's likely. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I am saying in the most theoretical situation you can come up with, he is the only one available on the market that I think is even remotely possible for that situation. And on that note, we do have one polite request here from a wonderful fan that has been involved the entire night. She's already chopped down the entire tree with her bare hand, but for a little cherry on top, Katie, this one's for you. Hell of a show. Hell of a show.
I just wanted to hit on one more thing on that. The conversation we just had is I cannot wrap my head around a fan base that hates on a guy who has led this team to the most wins in like 4 or 5 years. I don't understand it. This could be an hour conversation because it royally pisses me off to no end because it makes no fucking sense to me. And other fan bases look at us like we're idiots when we have conversations like this. And it's pathetic. It really is. So I just want to end on that because it drives me nuts. But why don't we end on that? Obviously this is the bye week. We'll be back next week to talk about the game against the Saints on the road. and we'll break that down. So we were hoping this was going to be a shorter episode. I had a feeling it was going to go longer, and it was about
Speak for yourself, man. I was hoping this thing would go forever. It was a fun episode where all we got to do is celebrate. I loved it. Shout out all 700 people that joined this show tonight and the people that entered this giveaway.
Thank you guys. Seriously. We will announce the jersey giveaway next week at the end of the episode. So tune in for that. There's more opportunities for entries that way. We thank everyone for tuning in. Like Ricky said, 700 plus on a Wednesday night. Where's the after party? Appreciate you, Bo. Maybe next time you'll let me know when you're going to a football game.
Goodness.
But hey, anyone, if you're going to a home football game, let us know. Hit us up on the Panthers on Tap account. I'd love to meet some of y'all. I think I ran into one person this past week. So please do, because we appreciate it. We'd like to see you guys and talk, chop it up. We get to see you guys through the chat. It's fun and all, but I'd like to see you in person as well and talk. So let us know, and I won't be
hopping his white van. He's got candy.
I won't be wearing a cheese head or what the hell have I worn so far? The bird mask or the
pigeon head.
Yeah.
Just wear the pigeon head. People will know you then.
But no, we appreciate every one of you guys. And thank you so much. And we will be back next week again, Wednesday. But until then, as always, keep pounding.